G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video, and in this video we are going to take a look at the AGL Goku, or the AGL Super Saiyan Goku, who recently got his EZA on DBZ Dokkan Battle Global. So this Goku, he is part of the Hero Extermination Plan event, and he became a 77% lead for the Super Saiyan category, which was obviously a nice little buff, and he became a 40% lead for various types. He raises his attack and defense for one turn on his super, and he has a pretty interesting passive. He has attack and defense of 100%, then he gains an additional attack and defense of 70% and gives all allies ki +3 and attack and defense of 30% when he is above 50% health. He then also, when he is below 50% health, gains 200% defense, so he loses the support, but he has a high chance to guard against all attacks. So it seems like in certain situations where you maybe are a bit low on health and need this Goku, he can become a decent tank for you. So now, in terms of Goku, obviously being one of these units, he does have somewhat low stats. It's best to build him into a crit build if you want him to do any kind of damage. The raising attack and defense is nice on his super, but it's not really enough to point him into additionals, as it won't raise his defense that much unless he's below 50% health, and then you're still really relying on the guard for most of the defensive savings. In terms of links, he has pretty good links. Prepared for battle, shattering the limit, Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, and Saiyan Warrior Race are some of the more notable ones. So he has a decent level of links for various pure Saiyans and hybrid Saiyans units. In terms of teams, like most of the other units, he's not on many. He's on Goku's family, Kamehameha, Super Saiyans, and yeah, it's pretty much the most notable ones. So here we'll be running him on the Goku's family team. We've got a very decent level of support running for him, and we'll just generally get a good feel for him. Something that's going to be difficult to equate is obviously him and his support that he gives. Just remember, he's always giving the rest of the rotation some decent support, and he hits, well, he looks that he's about 82,000 defense on this rotation. So that's pretty good. I mean, he is getting some support here from the SS2 Goku, but for the most part he's not getting like a massive amount of support or anything. He's got a lot of links active, which is very, very good, and obviously helps him out quite a bit. And, of course, he can hit some decent attack stats. 1.5 is not too bad. Obviously with link leveling that can go up, and this is a unit that only has one dupe, but he's not going to ever be a offensively orientated unit. He's not going to have as big a offensive payload as a unit like the Strength Vegeta that we recently reviewed, and just in general he can somewhat be a little bit lackluster in terms of his offensive capabilities. That being said, though, he does give attack and defense to the rest of the rotation. So just from my angle, I think you do have to evaluate that separately. He is giving the rest of the rotation a good buff, and he has very good generic links. So I think that points to this Goku just being a very good floater. I don't think he's a main rotation kind of unit, but he's definitely a unit that can help you out, floating on your team, putting in some good effort, putting in some good work. Potentially being a decent defensive or guard unit once you get low on health, and yeah, he just brings some utility to teams, which I think is good, and he's another support that the Super Saiyan category needs, so that does really help us out quite a bit. So we have some support here. He's up to 90k defense, which is good. Obviously still not massive, but when he fires off his super attack, he will raise his defense to above 100k, which is a good starting point overall. So even though he may not have currently the best stats ever, I mean, it's still pretty decent numbers for a unit that only has one dupe in him, and way more usable than he was before. Much like Vegeta, in that Vegeta became a very good offensive unit, you definitely can see that Goku has become a pretty decent utility unit. He's the kind of unit who you can float on your team, who can kind of sit there and soak in some of the damage. Possibly if you're low on health, he provides support and key to the rest of the rotation. He has nice set of universal links for a Super Saiyan or a Goku's family team. And just overall, he kind of has a, good kit that allows him to just kind of integrate himself into a pretty big, situation of being a good support, helping out the team, being able to just be kind of a glue figure for these units. So yeah, for me, I definitely think, that Goku's Eza is pretty good. I think if you have a couple dupes in him, you're going to be seeing a much better unit than what we're seeing here. But as a 55% unit, I think he's good. I think he's good for what he's made for. Definitely designed to be a floater. Definitely not a main target kind of unit. He's hitting decent attack stats. I mean, we've got the active skills and everything, and the passives and all that active. And we'll get B-Pan's active skill as well going. But yeah, he gets up to about 1.8, which is a decent figure. It's not really like the craziest number. I know a lot of people are used to seeing 3 millions and 4 millions and all those sort of things, but overall it's still a pretty decent spot to be in, and I think it's definitely not a bad place for him to be in. I think they've definitely made him usable, made him more viable, just made him better overall, and I like when they do that with units. Even if not every unit's the craziest unit, I still think it's good that they make units fill out certain niches. I think it really helps out quite a bit. So very happy with where Goku's at. Think, is he worth link leveling? Probably not. His links are very offensive orientated, which is fine. It'll up his damage quite a bit. Super Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepared for Battle gives a little bit of defense. Sharing the Limit gives a little bit of defense and offense. Kamehameha gives a little bit of offense. Things like that will help him out, but for the most part, they're all more offensively orientated. He won't benefit massively from link levels, but he will improve. But if you are going to be using a Super Saiyan team or a Goku's family team, and you're looking for a support to just be some binding glue for the team, you just kind of want someone who can sit in that slot and just buff everyone else, who's just going to pop up on rotations and not be a liability. I think Goku can fit that category niche quite well. And you'll see here, we'll put on B-Pan's active skill, and we'll just get a good look at how Goku can do here. So in terms of defense, sitting just below that 100k mark, could do with another dupe, would probably get him there, or maybe some equipment. But his attack damage is going to be the highest we're going to see at 1.8 mil, which is decent. It's not crazy, but it's decent. We'll take a look at him in another team build, so that we can get a good idea of how he performs in a Super Saiyan team, and then we'll probably wrap things up. But overall, I think we've seen everything we are going to see from Goku. Don't think we're going to see a much better performance, but I don't think we need to see technically a better performance. Like, I think we've seen enough to know what he's about overall. But we'll take a look at him. He's here on the Super Saiyan team. So this team, I wouldn't say is a better team for him, but I would definitely say it's probably the team he benefits the most. Super Saiyan's one of those teams that's got great units, but definitely could do with these kind of supports. These just floating units that provide key, provide attack, provide a defense, and just help out the team in general, because I think he definitely does help them. He creates a lot of synergy between them. Sometimes you can get some weird links, because although they all share Super Saiyan, Golden Warrior, Saiyan Warrior Race for the most part, Prepared for Battle, they either usually are like Vegeta family orientated or Goku family orientated. So having a support like Goku does kind of just help out, because it allows basically, for everyone to just kind of like have a bit of greater synergy between each other. And I think that's something that's, good for the team overall, but just helps, give Goku a place to shine. So we've got him here. He is linked up with Goten. He's got Well, with Trunks, he's got decent links. You can see him there, 90k defense, so you can see him benefiting from those higher lead skills defensively. And you can see he's providing some good support to the rotation, but also that's kind of his role. Like where you're seeing him now in that third slot with the ability to raise his defense before just going off rotation for a bit, coming back, providing support. That's actually what Goku's supposed to be used for. So when you think of Goku, when you think how am I going to use him, this is how. This is exact situation that you want to use him for that turn. He's not a unit you want to stick in the main rotation. Even though he'll gain guard, and that when he gets below 50% health, his defense isn't going to shoot up tremendously. It will go up quite a bit. It jumps up to around about 120 or so thousand, but it's not really going to like massively spike. And even though he has a high chance to guard, if he doesn't manage to get that chance, he's not going to basically clutch out as a tank. So generally I just suggest still keeping him as a floater. And even though it'll be like a little bit difficult in a sense of like, okay, he's floating, but at least he is still there. He still can take some hits. He will have a chance to just stop you from dying in that final slot. So, you know, there still are benefits to using him 100%. And just overall, he's pretty good. We'll see him on the next rotation. He links somewhat decently with the, you know, strength Super Saiyan Namek Goku, with another Super Saiyan floating. They're actually a pretty decent pair. And yeah, you can see here he's got some decent defense there. That'll raise and he'll get that to above 100k. So he's sitting in a really good spot, providing support to the rest of the rotation. Goku will buff his attack, because Goku gives a 30% attack boost to all allies if he attacks first in the rotation, or just before his allies in general. So you'll see that attack buff from Goku, which will help as well. So we should see a pretty good attack stat from him here, as long as Goku doesn't get a double super and kill him. And yeah, we see a pretty good attack stat. So you can see nice numbers from Goku. I mean, again, not like when we saw with Vegeta. Vegeta was getting like 2.5, 3 million, you know, and that was good numbers, like very good offensive numbers. Obviously that Vegeta was 2 dupes compared to this 1 dupe of Goku, but that second dupe's not going to make that massive statistical difference. Goku is just going to hit less than Vegeta, like it's by design. Vegeta is supposed to be more offensively orientated, where Goku does provide a lot more utility than Vegeta, and versatility than Vegeta. So for the most part, you know, it's designed that way, so can't really say too much. But we'll take a look at how Goku links up with various units, and then we'll call it there. But I think we've seen enough from Goku to know what he's about, how he performs, and just able to evaluate him as a unit overall. So yeah, from what we saw there, we could see Goku's versatility really makes him shine. At least as a floating support on numerous teams, he gives you a lot of variability. You can see Super Saiyan is a pretty common link, Prepared for Battle is a pretty common link, Sharing the Limits is okay. Only really Z Fighters will be a link that's going to give you some trouble, and it's not really a link. I mean, it's a good link, but it's because it's so difficult to get, it's not really a link that I advise consistently working for. But if you just work off the premise of Super Saiyan, Prepared for Battle, you'll definitely see a variety of units that can link with Goku. Saiyan Warrior Race is a super common link. Sharing the Limit, although being less common than Prepared for Battle, gives him good alternation in terms of his like linking partners. And just in general, he's not really struggling. Golden Warrior as well, super common link. You could see here with this Goku, he shared quite a few links. And obviously this Goku does give him some support, even though it's not the full benefit of support since he's not Super Saiyan 2. But overall, he does give him some pretty decent support, just, you know, in general. So for me, I definitely think they are a pretty good pairing. This SS3 unit pairs well with him, although obviously when he goes SS3, he won't be pairing so well with him. He will lose a couple of those links. But he links pretty well with like any Super Saiyan unit from the Majin Buu saga pretty much. I mean, you look at units like this Goten, the Trunks, anything like that. He just links pretty well. So from my angle, I don't really have any issues with this Goku's linking. and I think overall he's got a nice versatility to his links for the teams that he's on. Goku's family, Super Saiyan, those are his major teams that he'll be on, and for those teams he has a very good link set. So there's really not too much that we need to kind of deep dive into here in terms of build. He's not going to struggle to link with anyone, so there's no real need to evaluate it, only if you want to go for the Z Fighters link, and that link's so uncommon right now that it's not really something that, you know, any of us need to evaluate a unit on. So for me, I think Goku's a good versatile unit. If you have him and you're looking for a support for a couple teams, you can definitely use him. If not, then honestly it's not really entirely needed, but I think using him is not a bad call. So let me know in the comments down below how you find Goku. Have you been using him, have you not? And yeah, but that's it from me, guys. Leave a like on the video if you liked it, otherwise I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care and bye.